Hey Mark here. I have a really cool giveaway for you. I have 5 digital copies of the 2025 film Him up for grabs, and if you'd like to win a copy, just shoot me a message. You'd be like, hey Mark, I like Marlon Wayans. Jordan Peele's a great producer. This movie looks pretty interesting, and it has some interesting concepts, and it looks really good. And I know it's divisive, but it's worth a watch because it does something original. So yeah, if you'd like to win a copy, just shoot me a message and be like, hey Mark, yes, please, I would like to see Him. So, Jordan Peele invites you to experience the eerie thrills of the groundbreaking sports horror film Him, now available to watch at home. Him features over 45 minutes of exclusive bonus content, including a haunting alternate ending, 5 deleted scenes, and behind-the-scenes featurettes only when you buy. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who loves it when he can cancel the kitchen scraps for lepers and orphans. It's Niall Moore.
Better be careful, Mark, or I'll cut your heart out with a spoon.
Well, why a spoon?
Because it'll hurt more, you twit.
He's in, you know what's great. So, if you've been listening to the pod for a while, Niall and I have been on. We've just covered 10 Star Trek films,
It's
and
a lot of Star Trek.
a lot of Star Trek. And before we got to the JJ Star Treks, Niall suggested a palate cleanser because you need a break between Nemesis and JJ Star Trek. You really do. So we took a break. I had never researched this movie, Niall. I didn't know. I just knew I loved it.
It's right up your alley. Like you love a troubled production.
I do. I love a troubled production. And you know what's kind of crazy is this movie. So the more I read about it, the more I'm amazed at how well it came out, because the director, Kevin Reynolds, they were like, hey, September 3, you have to start shoot. It's the last possible start date because we don't want to get into the English winter with rain and all that. And there's very little
Which
light.
makes sense.
Yeah. And they're like, there's a lot less light. We really won't be able to shoot much, but that's September 3. That's great. And then like, okay, we got to go. But then they're like, hey, you only have 10 weeks of pre-production. And your star, Kevin Costner, who was in your movie Fandango, he's shown up 3 days before. Oh yeah, and Maid Marian was Robin Wright. She can't do it. She's pregnant. And yeah, we don't have a sheriff yet. So here's Alan Rickman, but he's rewriting his lines. And what's this about an accent? Just don't even worry about it.
We don't have to worry about accents. But we know that American accents are genetic. It must have come from the mother's side because Brian Blessed has a very strong English accent, but obviously Christian Slater and Kevin Costner as half brothers both seem to have this genetic American accent.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. And it's just, but you know what though? After listening to so many bad accents, I mean, it's everywhere in this world, but hearing, British actors come over, Irish actors, Scottish actors coming over and doing Southern accents, I'd almost then prefer just to use their own accent. Like, I don't care if, Rafe Spall is just sticking with his English accent to play a Mississippi guy, because I would rather hear that than the Southern twang from him. So I think
this film is not trying to be an accurate period
no,
piece.
no.
So you can give it a little bit of leeway with just have the actors have their accent. It's more about the silliness and the fun. Anyway,
yes.
Robin Hood's always been about silliness.
There's a scene when they're like, where you're missing 3 to 4 million, but this takes place 800 years ago. So just roll. Like, man, when I watched this when I was 9, this movie ruled, right? I never once thought about the accent. I didn't really even think about the accent. I didn't even know the accent thing was an issue until I started reading reviews for this. And I had no idea that they shot in 10 weeks.
This film I saw for my, I believe, 7th birthday.
Oh,
my mum took me and a bunch of friends to see it. We went to, I think it was called the Laser Drome or the Laser Dome. It was like or the Quasar or whatever, laser tag kind of thing. And we went and saw Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And my mum had to take one of the neighbors out. This girl, like Jennifer was her name, I think, one of our neighbors, because of the starting scene where it starts super dark and they're chopping people's hands off and it's all kind of crazy in this PG film. And of course, myself and all the other guys were just loving it. I had the toys. I had like the Robin Hood action figure. It came with a little crossbow. I think it didn't shell out for the one that came with the longbow. I got the crossbow one, which was the alternate figure. I really wanted a tree house like the tree houses they had. And then obviously with my heritage, my grandmother is actually originally from the Nottingham area, so I have a deep connection to the story, obviously.
Oh, it's amazing. And I love that Kenner reused Return of the Jedi molds for the toys, which just
Well, makes sense.
makes this kind of just makes me really happy. Adam Hodgins he's done a lot of episodes on this. He has a show called Go Figure, and he does a whole history on the Robin Hood toys or figures. Sorry, but yeah, just this movie rocked. The soundtrack was everywhere. Alan Rickman, even at 9, I realized that this guy was on another level. Like you're not gonna like process all of that or think about it, but like when he looked at the wenches and he's like 10:30, you 10:45, bring a friend, and just I was pretty sure I got that, but just watching his performance, oh yeah, and I think for like 7-year olds, 9-year olds, this movie was kind of it, right? It was violent. It had a witch
It
that was pretty
it had
scary.
action. It had the witch. It had a lot of quite dark scenes in it and
Yeah.
a lot of quite violent scenes. And a lot of the movies we would have had previous things like Willow things would have been more fantasy violent where it's cut away. You don't really get
Mm-hmm.
to watch the violent bits, whereas this kind of leaned into the violence a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Just when like at the end when Morgan Freeman throws his blade and hits the witch and she just goes flying, just to the trees and just everyone's getting run through and oh man. I love it. And poor guy just gets impaled. At least it wasn't a spoon. Like just this is good steel. This is and what's kind of what I think adds to it. If this was shot rather flatly, like with wide shots, medium shots. But the witch and Guy and Rickman, there's so many close-ups of them. They're just like almost like a fisheye lens in their faces at all times. And I wonder if that was because of how rushed the production was. But that added
Well, they
an
didn't
element of
really
freakiness.
have a lot of sets, as far as I know.
Yeah.
A lot of it was outside, and they were filming it in the flight path to Heathrow, I think, which meant they had to stop every few minutes because planes were going overhead. That
And
was
they,
a slightly silly idea.
and they were, well, I mean, that's what happens when you have 10 weeks of pre pro. But what's cool though? I was listening to the Rewatchables, so I can't say this is my idea, their episode about this, but they're on location, like the cliffs of Dover. They're at some castles. Like it's a gorgeous looking film with really good actors that had 10 weeks of pre-pro and what no, a few weeks of pre-pro and then 10 weeks of shooting, 2.5 months of shooting with limited light because a lot of it's shot outside. So it's this is
Yeah,
and then
in the
this
British in the British autumn, where the weather is pretty uncooperative for doing such things.
uh, so now that you were 7 when you watched it, you're obviously older now, unless you're, I don't know, Highlander, which would be pretty interesting. Like what are your thoughts about it now, all these years later?
Well, I guess I can talk about it a little bit what from when I was at university. So I've got a group chat with some university friends, and I remembered we played a drinking game to this movie when I was in halls, and I messaged my buddies and got the rules, which is quite ridiculous. So you had to drink. You were on a team, either Robin, Locksley, Sheriff, or Nottingham. You had to drink anytime your team's word was said. You had to drink every time an arrow was shot. You had to drink whenever Azim called him Christian and say Amen. You had to stand up and say Long live Sean Connery anytime King Richard was mentioned. And there were various other silly rules. So I think I hadn't really thought about it for many years until then. We watched it again, and since it's been available on DVD, on streaming, whatever, it's one of my favorite kind of movies to just watch
Mhm.
without paying too much attention to because it's so rewatchable.
It's wildly rewatchable, is it not? And I don't think Costner's that bad in it. Do you? Like, I think. Listen, he shot Dance of the Wolves, came over here with 3 days. I doubt he knew the script. And apparently he was annoyed that Rickman was getting more stuff than him. But I don't know if that's for sure. But this was kind of the era of a Star movie. But I don't think he's that bad when he has the telescope and he has the sword out and his speeches. I know the director's excuse. People say his performance. He got nominated for a Razzie for this movie too, but the director said that he was tired because he
Well,
just,
he was coming off Dance with Wolves, and then I think he went straight into JFK after this.
oh man. So I mean, sure, he's tired. Weather's crazy, but I think he's fine. Or is it just the charisma of Costner that makes me think that it was fine?
I think if you look back at it now, it's fine. I think in the moment, and the reason people were criticizing it is because they were expecting an Errol Flynn accented Robin Hood, and what they got was Kevin Costner being a 12th century action hero.
Yeah, yeah. But he pulled. Do you think he pulls it off? Do you think he pulls off being a 12th century? He has a lot of glory
Yeah,
shots.
that shot with the slow motion with the burning arrow, that's an iconic shot,
Oh
no
yeah.
matter how you look at it.
And when he's walking
Um,
through the forest through the smoke, like there's a lot of good shots. And then the really long butt shot.
which isn't actually him.
Yeah. The water was too cold.
Well,
But
shrinkage.
you know what though? There's so like Wincott's in this movie. Morgan Freeman's in this movie. Rickman's in this movie. Mary Elizabeth is good in this movie. There's so Will Slater, Christian Slater is in. Will Slater's the guy from Last Action Hero, is it not?
Jack Slater was
Jack
Last
Slater.
Action Hero.
But there's so many actors in here. In here, I feel like the plot is quite distributed pretty well. So even if you don't like Costner's supposedly flat performance, you go back to Rickman, who's in another movie entirely, and
Well,
that's just
Rickman,
great.
he was going off and getting Ruby Wax to rewrite his lines for him. She's a famous British comedian, very, very sharp wit, and she was apparently just giving him notes on things he should say.
Yeah, someone helped him write the scar scene, like U 1030 into 1045. And I think Ruby came in and was like, "Bring a friend." And according to Rickman, I found this quote: Kevin Reynolds did let me off the leash, which I kind of love. So he just, that's smart by Kevin Reynolds, though. He realized how hot of a hand he had with Rickman, and he just let him go. And boy, did he! And then he won a BAFTA for this role.
Yeah, he did, but not wasn't nominated for an Oscar.
That's
He was
insane.
I believe the last person to get the BAFTA and not be nominated for an Oscar.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He didn't get nominated for Die Hard either.
I think that's a genre snub more than anything
Yeah,
else.
that's true.
Particularly back then, a lot of the Academy would have looked down on action pictures.
Instead, they're just like, give Out of Africa, 4 Oscar nominations, right, for acting. Nothing wrong with that movie, but yeah, I guess they did just lump that into the action genre. But he's just so perfect in this movie. He's his mom's a witch.
Yeah. Mom's a witch
Who's
and
dad?
she's scheming and manipulating to get him on the throne.
And man, he's just so good in this
I saw
movie.
someone try to compare it to Dune, that it had a lot of plot similarities to Dune, where the mom is some kind of witch and is scheming to get the son on the throne, and then there's something about a guy joining up with a bunch of outlaws and taking over and taking the fight to the regime. It was a very tenuous look, if I'm giving them any credit at all.
That's interesting. But I mean, the I guess he always did steal from the rich and give to the poor. And there has been a Marion, but there was never a witch. Is this the first time there was a witch in one of
No,
these?
the thing is, a lot of it's not a real story to start
Yeah.
with. There's a lot of ballads and old kind of legends and myths surrounding Robin Hood, and none of them have this as a coherent take. So it's very much almost every adaptation just picks and chooses the bits they want to use and the bits that will work. So you get things like Little John come up in a few. You get Friar Tuck kind of showing. You get the Merry Men. You get the Sheriff of Nottingham. There's mentions of Prince John in some of the adaptations. That wasn't in this one. King Richard obviously was mentioned quite a bit.
What about Celts?
Don't recall Celts. I think they just borrowed them from the set of Braveheart.
I do love though that Kevin Reynolds didn't really want to make a Robin Hood film, and then Kevin Costner didn't really want to make a Robin Hood film. But then Kevin Reynolds said that my two movies that I made weren't hits. So basically, they just got me because they knew of my relationship with Kevin. So he
Yeah,
signs
I think
on.
they wanted Costner just because I think Costner was in talks with one of the other studios who were making a Robin Hood picture at the same time. And I think they wanted to get Costner, and the way they did it was getting Reynolds in.
And he knew it,
Yeah,
which is crazy. I love that they made Waterworld together and they have huge fights. And I also love that they rushed this into production. They shot it in just, kind of not before the fall of, or the, fall time in England. And it's good. It looks good. The costumes are good. The story makes some sense. Like, people complain a lot about Costner's Robin Hood. Is he petulant? Is he not? Is he rich? Is he not? But it's just a silly blockbuster, is it not? Like, so I don't.
yeah.
What? Yeah, but I think you're right. People are expecting something else. They got a pretty gnarly film. The accent, but Keanu Reeves a couple years. No,
It was a couple of years after this.
yeah,
He
Bram
tried to
Stoker's,
do a British accent and failed miserably.
and he gets butchered for that. So I also love that costume just showed up on 3 days notice with 3 days of prep to play Robin Hood.
Well, I think there's no winning.
No,
Um,
no. But
but
it
yeah,
made,
this was
if it
the
wasn't for T2, this would have been the number one grossing film of 91.
which is not shabby at all.
No.
T2 obviously was something special. It
Yeah.
was actually the highest grossing film in the UK and Ireland
Wow.
because it was PG and T2 was 15s.
What do you remember people thinking of this movie in Ireland or the UK? Like what?
It it was just everywhere because of the song.
Yeah, oh gosh, it was everywhere. Yeah. I had the single.
It was at number one for 16 weeks, I think, in the UK or in Ireland. So for that entire massive chunk of that year, just every time you put on the radio, you would hear Brian Adams.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Did that help
Um,
kick off? Well, I mean, I know there's Purple Rain in the 80s, but if this is 91, do you think this helped kick off the craze of soundtrack songs?
I
Because
think we talked about this previously, didn't we?
yeah, but I mean, Titanic was
Which
big, Batman was big,
which
Armageddon was
film did we
big.
talk about that had a big soundtrack kick before? I'm
None of
sure
the
we've gone into
star
this before.
None of the Star Trek movies. We've covered so
Well,
many,
I know
Niall.
AC/DC did one for Last Action Hero.
Yeah, we had a long top of like, but this one though, this was a nominee for an Academy Award. It won a Grammy, and then I kind of feel like the following years there were some giant songs.
Well, you had The
Like,
Bodyguard, another
oh my
Costner. I think that was
gosh,
the
yeah.
next year.
Yeah, I wish Waterworld had a banger of an original song. Like Aqua
Well,
does a song
Waterworld's
for it.
same director again, Kevin
Yeah.
Reynolds.
So
Um,
but I do. I mean, I have no data to back this up, but that was such a giant song. And I was looking through 91. That's a stacked year. I know when people talk about the greatest years ever for cinema, they talk about what 31, 99, 94. There's a few other years that have been brought up, but I guess if you're looking for movies that have played well or for have a long life, there in 91 there's T2, Robin Hood, Silence of the Lambs, City Slickers, Adam's Family, Hook. People love Hook. Beauty and the
looks great.
Beast. Backdraft, Undiscovered Country. You should listen to that. But then there's Hot Shots. What about Bob, My Girl, Father of the Bride, Boys in the Hood, Last Boy Scout, New Jack City, Rocketeer, Thelma and Louise. I mean, JFK came out. Point Break, Fisher King, Prince of Tides, like Out for Justice. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think 91 is kind of a sleeper year as far as I don't know, at least people in our generation, like a lot of these still play pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. There, it makes me wonder what I'm missing now. If we were having so many of these years where there were so many fantastic films, what's
Mm-hmm.
happened?
Oh, geez,
It,
Louise. That's a
it's
that's a whole different conversation, right? With streaming and but there's not, what's interesting? there are sequels here. There's what Secret of the Ooze, Terminator 2, geez, Star Trek 6, but there weren't too many sequels. Now it would be probably like a sequel and a remake. But I mean, I
Yeah,
guess yeah.
it's the safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what are we getting this year? Another Superman reboot. Um, there's
Another Jurassic Park reboot.
is there another Jurassic Park reboot
Yeah,
coming out?
Jurassic something reborn, rebirth.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So the Thunderbolts with characters we've seen before. There's a new
Yes.
Final Destination, new Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, Karate Kid Legends, Ballerina from the world of John Wick, How to Train Your Dragon live action 28 years later. There's a new Toxic Avenger. There's a Nobody 2, Freakier Friday. There's a new Naked Gun. There's the Bad Guys 2, Fantastic Four First Steps. There's a new Smurfs. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jurassic World Rebirth, and Megan 2.0.
So there's a lot of sequels, reboots, not a lot of original stuff.
Yeah, not much. Which makes sense though, just because of streaming. You don't want to put a new because back then, HBO was out, and I guess, but in blockbuster videos were popular. Top Gun, it kind of burst the bubble for making VHS tapes more affordable, but theaters were kind of where it was at.
Yeah, it was very much if you wanted to see a movie, you go to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we had a VCR until mid 90s, probably 94, 95, something like that.
I bought one my eighth grade year. I saved up $238 of change and lunch money, and I bought a 12-inch TV VCR combo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the thing was awesome. That thing got I got a lot of life out of that thing. And I bought my first DVD player my junior year for about $240.
I don't think I ever specifically bought a DVD player. I had a PS2 which played DVDs,
Ah,
so that was my way of doing it. I had my
fantastic.
games on my DVDs.
So what were your favorite moments in this movie? Like what are some things that stick with you? Like do you often, like when you're hiking, do you go to the trees? To the tree. Do you often yell that, or like is it any all Rickman, or what are your favorite moments from this?
I, a lot of it's Rickman.
Yeah.
Just there are so many ridiculous lines he comes out with, like canceling Christmas. Um, the one you've already mentioned, obviously, you 10:30, you 10:45, bring a friend.
I can't do this with all the racket, but it's crazy. That's a rape scene, and they're playing it for laughs. Like that's
Yes, he probably wouldn't get away with that now.
no, no, definitely not. And then he said, "What a beautiful child, so young, so alive, so unaware of how precarious life can be." I had a very sad childhood. I'll tell you about it sometime. I never knew my parents. It's amazing. I'm sane. He's
Um, and then yeah, some of the action beats, like the catapult scene.
yeah. Fuck me.
Um,
They made it. They cleared it. Oh,
it's um, it's a good job that that catapult was configured to fire exactly over that into a convenient bale of hay and not splat into the wall.
hay is everywhere in this movie, by the way. When they jump down from the castle wall at Marion's, hay. When they jump out of the castle, hay. When they catapult, hay. When he falls from he has like a zip line up there between his tree houses.
Yes,
Falls on hay or a thatched roof. I think convenient hay might be the MVP of this film.
it is. All that's missing is, a Monty Python style sketch where you show the guy who's actually moving all the hay round, just waiting for people to land in it.
And everyone thinks it's just convenient, but there's a hay guy
Yeah, of
and there's a cheese shop with no cheese.
course.
I love that bit. It's like one of my favorite skits. But I think for me, the things that have always stuck out in my head are, I always talk about the catapult scene. I mean, between this, Waterworld that these two were in, and Kevin directed it, Kevin starred in. That's the only film to go 3 for 3 on the Hoffmeyer scale of greatness.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it
What
has a
what is the
catapult.
Hofmeier scale of greatness?
Yep, it has to have a catapult scene, a sea beast of any kind, and a jet ski action scene. And that's the only film that features all three. Some come close. Some have two. Like Deep Rising has two. Shark Night 3D has two. Piranha 3D has two, but this is the only one with three. Well, the Mermaid has it, but it's kind of a makeshift catapult. So, I lumped it in with Waterworld, but it's only the one true one is Waterworld. So I do like that Costner and Reynolds love them some catapult work. And
And
also,
there,
why need the Celts if you're just going to firebomb the place?
I think it was a case of him running out of men and not wanting to pay them.
Oh, that's fair. And then how'd they get the catapults through those woods without them hearing
That's plot.
it? This movie's so crazy. I love it. And they followed that in through the dark of night with a ton of gear. And then they got there in the
Yeah,
morning.
into this forest where they somehow have built a forge as well that is able to forge all of those arrows and swords to very, very high standards.
But they had 10 weeks to plan for this thing. I I think this is a little bit of a minor miracle. The fact that it's so popular and they had a very truncated shooting schedule. And I think that came down to a few things. And I guess we'll look at those right now. I think they didn't have much time to shoot, but Reynolds realized how good Rickman is. So he just let him go. Like they just let him do his thing. And I think people love that about the film. Two, I'm happy Costner doesn't use an accent the entire time. I thought that was a very smart move. The casting of Morgan Freeman. Freeman's perfect in this role. Like he's great. Like I love the telescope. I love that he's like, how'd you barbarians take charge of Jerusalem? Like that's a great bit. There's a wonderful water fight. I think Michael Wincott's a great villain. The villains are just kind of evil in this film. Also, the hanging scene is,
That's pretty brutal.
yeah. I mean, the
He
kid is
was
getting
straight up
hung.
hanging a child.
Yeah, and like I thought that was a really interesting idea. The score is great. What Michael Kamen, like
Who
you,
also did Die Hard.
oh man, also did Die Hard. The cinematography by Douglas, like Milsom, like I really like how grimy the witch stuff is. Like that's really
Well,
kind of
they had
brutal.
a guy working on special effects who's another Kevin called Kevin Dracott, who his first film was Batman.
Whoa,
He's since worked on a ton of stuff. Tenet, Spider-Man Far From Home, Fury, Furiosa, The Cave, Hellboy, I Spy, Blade 2, Band of Brothers,
wow.
GoldenEye, Judge Dredd. Like this guy went on to do a bunch of really interesting special effects, and he was part of the team. Because I was actually just looking in the credits to see how many Kevins were in this Kevin movie, since we already had two. It turns out there were four.
For Kevin's. I mean, they did. They all did good though.
Yeah.
And also, you know what's interesting? The cinematographer, Douglas Wilson, worked for Kubrick. He was a focus puller for Kubrick. And then he went on to let's see, Full Metal Jacket. He was a lighting cameraman. And then just a couple years later, he's shooting this film, uh, Prince of Thieves in 91. But I think he did a pretty good job. So I think all around, this is just a handsome production. I think their idea to shoot on location paid off. And the fact that they're there, not in, say, Romania or Budapest, which are beautiful, but I don't know. This movie is always I
Yeah,
never
I
would
think
have
having
guessed.
recognizably English features in the countryside definitely helped, even
Mhm.
if their geography is a little bit off. Um, Dover's in the south, then they were at Hadrian's Wall,
Wall,
which
yeah.
is 250 miles north of Nottingham, and then Sherwood, which is supposedly in Nottingham. But I think they filmed that in Buckinghamshire.
I love that guy when they're by the wall. Guys like cut down the tree, but that thing is gigantic. They're gonna be
And
there all day.
somebody did cut that tree down recently.
Oh
They're
no,
being taken to court over it
they actually cut
because the
that
tree
tree down.
because that tree's been there for hundreds of years. It was like a protected monument or something, and somebody's chopped it down.
Who did that?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up,
Oh,
but
that's horrifying.
it was in the last year or so. It's a whole big thing.
Just I love that they're gonna chop the tree down and then he beats those guys. And I love that Azim never helps him. He's praying during the first fight. And then during the water fight, he's like, "Get up, fight better."
It's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, I love that kid. I think, and then he steps up, has his moment. I don't know. For a movie, they were on set, like you said, Niall. They couldn't shoot because of planes. They were losing light. I mean, this thing was a train wreck by all accounts. They were rewriting the script. They had just hired people for it.
And
But
then Costner re-edited it
yeah,
himself.
yeah, they did. And they cut out a lot of Rickman stuff because he was testing so well.
Well,
It's
that
crazy.
seems
And
a
then
little bit silly.
and it still made a ton of money.
Well, it did what, 390 worldwide,
That's
which is
gigantic in 91.
massive.
Yeah. So I think if we're going to talk about a movie that had little to no time, behind the scenes issues, editing issues, and had to get rushed into production, this is probably the top tier of that. Like top tier ripoff. Let's beat this Robin Hood movie to the theaters. And then all of a sudden you get a giant hit. This would be if like London is Angel has Fallen, the Gerard Butler movie that they shot really quick to beat White House down to the theaters, became an instant
London is
classic.
falling.
Yeah, so Angel has Fallen, and then there's London's Fallen. The White House Down? No, that's
White House Down is
the
that
other
was
one. The
the other
Roland
one.
Emmerich, Gerard Butler White House movie. Olympus has Fallen.
Ah, there you go.
That'd be like if Olympus with Morgan Freeman. If that movie became a giant blockbuster smash. And also, too, we talked about this earlier, but I do think, where do you think Robin Hood Prince of Thieves stands in like the Kevin Costner dad movie tiers? And when I mean dad movie, it's just movies that dads love. I'm not saying women don't love it, but there's a term called dad movies. Like, do you think this is a like tier one Costner dad movie? If we had to pick three films to be in Costner's tier one dad movie, what are they?
I think Field of Dreams, probably.
Yeah, Dances with Wolves, right?
Yeah.
My grandpa owned one movie. He was a farmer in Iowa. He owned one movie, and that was Dances with Wolves.
And then yeah, The Untouchables is a good
Oh
one.
yeah, that's a good one. Open Range though.
Um, I really enjoy Tin Cup.
Oh, Tin Cup, yeah. Bodyguard. You know how many people love JFK, but also
JFK is
too
good.
like No Way Out, Bull Durham, Untouchables. Even Silverado's a really good dad movie. But which is the third one we're gonna put into it? We have, is it Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
No, I'd say that would slip down to below. I
Okay.
think you'd have to go probably maybe Bull Durham
Man,
or
I think Untouchables is a good pull.
yeah.
Because if we're talking dad movies, that's such a dad movie. That's like the top tier right there. What's second tier? Tin Cup,
I think then you can go Tin Cup, Dances with or not Dances with Wolves, Robin Hood. You can do
Open Range.
maybe
Man, he's really good in upset. And also,
JFK.
we're forgetting about For Love of the Game and 13 Days. I think he's the dad movie champ.
He definitely has a lot of entries into the genre.
Who do you think might
But
compete with him?
is that just symptomatic of the age of a lot of dads and what was popular?
Yeah, but even
Yeah,
in 90, I knew like I feel like that was a like my grandpa had Danceable Wolves. Like my dad loved that movie. Like I think I don't know, he just seems like a dad movie guy, if that makes sense. Like,
Bodyguard.
like Mr. Brooks has a 7.3 on IMDb. The Guardian has a 6.9. Upside of Anger 6.8. Open Range 7.4. 13 Days 7.3. Tin Cup only has a 6.4, which is kind of crazy. A Perfect World has a 7.5. JFK 8.0. Prince of Thieves 6.9. Dance with Wolves 8.0. Field of Dreams 7.5. Bull Durham 7. No Way Out 7. Oh my gosh, he had a let's see 87 to 89. He had four movies released that have over a 7.0 score on IMDb. Field
A
of
good
Dreams,
run.
Bull Durham, No Way Out, and The Untouchables.
That's a pretty good run.
What have you always thought about Costner? Have you ever been excited for a Costner film? Like,
I
I
don't think
remember
so.
no, like
I,
when Norton
he's
came
always
out.
just been kind of he's always been kind of a star, I guess, from what I've known.
Yeah.
Because from when I remember watching movies, he was already Robin Hood or he was in Dances with Wolves and those kind of movies. So now when I see him in movies, he's often playing the little old, he's in Man of Steel as the dad. He's in, so when I misunderstood your message about dad movies, it's like, yeah, he's a dad in Man of Steel. He is a dad in he plays the dad in Molly's Game, which is a movie that I really enjoy.
Yeah, he's a dad looking
But
for revenge and let him go.
yeah,
He's a dad in Yellowstone. So he was the star of a bunch of dad movies, and now he's a dad in a lot of movies. But then, like in Hidden Figures, he's saving the day, and like he's had a pretty good
I
career
forgot he
here,
was in
Costner.
that. That's
Yeah,
that's another good movie.
like even McFarlane USA is a good film. That's a 7.4 score on IMDb. This guy had draft day 6.8. He just keeps. I don't know what Costner does. Like, I don't think he's ever.
There are some missteps that
Oh yeah, that's true.
maybe haven't landed. Um, Things like Water Worlds that didn't get the recognition that they were expecting. Um, The Postman, another one which I remember kind of buried him for a little bit, I guess. It was okay, The Postman, this has flopped. Now Costner is no longer a big star.
That was, look at this run: 90, Dance with Wolves, Prince of Thieves, JFK, Bodyguard, Perfect World. I mean, that's a
And
great.
then he was doing Waterworld, which is this
Yeah,
massive tentpole
yeah. Oh
movie,
man, that went way
which
over budget. Used up all the steel in Hawaii, but he made. But look at this though.
and
He
then he
made.
fell out with Kevin Reynolds again and edited it himself. There seems to be a common theme here.
But you know what's nuts? So Wyatt Earp, that movie did not do well because I think Tombstone kind of buried it, even though Tombstone came out earlier. And then he made The War, but Wyatt Earp has a 6.7. The War has a 6.8, and I remember liking The War. Waterworld came out, and I think you're right. I think that really hurt him because it was so expensive. And even when I was 13, I remember how expensive it was. But then Tin Cup comes out in 96, and then he's kind of hot again. But I feel like he blew that up with The Postman, which was like a colossal flop. But then he kind of brought it back for Message in a Bottle, For Love of the Game, 13 Days. But then he shot himself in the foot with 3,000 Miles to Graceland and Dragonfly. But then he popped up again with Open Range and had a really good run there for a while. So yeah, he's definitely had this really kind of crazy up and down career that he's kind of gotten in the way of a little bit, I think.
But if you were to look back, I'd say it's still more hits than misses.
Oh yeah, I'd take his record any day of the week. I don't. He's never been nominated though for Best Actor.
Did he get a supporting actor? Not well. He won Best Director,
Yeah, he won Best Director over Scorsese.
which is not controversial at all.
I mean, oh no, he was. Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry, he was Best Actor in Dancing with Wolves,
uh,
but he's never gotten another nomination outside of that. But he has like so. I think he has so much charisma
but
on
has he
screen.
really? He hasn't really given. I don't think he's really given that many performances. I think he's made good choices of movies to be in and is good in them, but not something where he's completely broken out from the movie or carried the movie where all you can think about is like, wow, Costner was amazing in this. When I came out of Oppenheimer, I was thinking, okay, wow, Robert Downey Jr. was phenomenal in this. Cillian Murphy was phenomenal in this. When I watch, say, Robin Hood, it's like, okay, Alan Rickman was phenomenal in this. Kevin Costner was fine.
That's a really good point. But he's carried some huge movies. But yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever
he
watched
he
out.
has the power, but he, I don't think I can remember any performances where I've gone wow for him.
I remember leaving Open Range and just talking about the gunfight. I think Tim Cup might be the loosest he's ever been on screen. Like
Tin
I think,
Cup's fun.
yeah, but Renee Russo pops in that one. I think,
She does.
and then the Bodyguard. I think Whitney Houston and her singing were huge. When people talk about JFK, it's just about how insane it is. Feel the Dreams. He's great, but it's more about if you build it, they will come. Untouchables. It's Connery's movie.
I think Field of Dreams is one you can argue that he gave a very subtle performance and it was good.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, him and James Earl Jones just cruising around, and he's super earnest in it.
I forgot James Earl Jones was the ball player.
One thing I do love about Costner is he goes to make Dance with Wolves, becomes a gigantic hit. He has 2 days of sleep, I got 2 hours of sleep, flies out for a movie 3 days before it's shooting, and it's the biggest film of '91. And then I liked that he made Waterworld, and they're what's great about Waterworld? It went wildly over budget, but it looks great. If you watch it now, they just shot it on location. Everything looks gorgeous. But then, like, I think he didn't like not directing Waterworld because he loved his like Dance with Wolves. He loved directing that, so he went to Prince of Thieves and he wanted to edit, and then he went to Wyatt Earp. And let's see, did he direct Wyatt Earp? No, Cass had directed Wyatt Earp, but I think he wanted a part in that. So I think after Waterworld, he's like, I need to direct. So then he goes and makes Postman, which kind of blows up his career. And then also too, like he just did the Horizon movies, which are fine, but that ended like his run on Yellowstone, which kind of brought him back into the limelight. So he's a really curious guy. I feel like he's equal parts ambitious and almost self-destructive in a little bit, but he always bets big, I think, on himself. And then when he
What's
misses, he
the
comes back.
Shakespearean term? Vaulting ambition.
Yeah, Vault. Yeah, like he's definitely that, but he shoots himself in the foot sometimes. But then he somehow always finds a way to be like, oh, you know what? I'll pop up in Hidden Figures. I'll pop up in Molly's Game. I'll be in The Highwaymen, which has a 6.9 rating. I'll, like he knows how to pop back up in smart films to get cred back up, and then he'll burn a bridge, and then he'll pop back up in smart films, burn a bridge. It's just kind of fun watching that from him.
Yeah, it
I
is.
like it. I like it. No, like what else haven't we talked about? I mean, the opening scene of this movie, there's the torture. His buddy gets murdered. It's ultra bleak. What, like, do you? I mean, it paid off, right? But
It did.
people like Ebert were really turned off by it. But I mean, I don't
It's
think it was that violent by any means, or
well,
the
by
PG
today's
rating.
standards, it's
Yeah.
not. I think the whoever was in charge of the BBFC back then, the British Board of Film Censorship, I believe, or film classification, same difference. He said it's the movie he regrets allowing through as a PG.
Whoa. Which
Um,
which makes sense. But you know what's interesting? Do you think movies like this, like a Robin Hood kind of prestige type films, get a little bit more of a lenient rating? Because Titanic has a ton, like a
well,
bunch of nudity. It's PG-13.
yeah, Titanic would be another one where if you had that gratuitous nudity in something that wasn't Titanic, it would not get the same rating.
Yeah. So do you think
It's
that's
because
why
it's
this one got
tastefully
away?
done.
Yeah.
It's tastefully done.
It's like kids are going to this movie every day, and you're like, oh wow, why? But you know, the opening hand getting shot, even the stuff with the witch is really dark, and the way they shoot it, and the way that Wincott just
And
gets
there's a
run
lot of
through.
kind of almost blood magic in it. He's he cuts his hand to swear an oath on his blood that he's going to avenge his father. Then the witch is cutting herself to do some kind of spell to see Morgan Freeman coming for her.
Oh man, and like the spit too. Remember when she cuts herself and
Oh,
then she
that's gross.
spits?
And she's scraping it around with her oversized nail.
Oh yeah, that was nasty. That wasn't great. But I mean, I don't know. I just admire movies that this had so many issues.
Oh, it did.
But I think
But
it's kind of a
it
unicorn,
did
right?
it did well at the box office.
Yeah.
It still holds up today, probably as well as it did 30, 34 years ago, I guess it
Yeah.
came out, give or take.
And I like that it's critic proof. Like this is a film that critics were jumping on when there's an article from the AV Club. They're like, it's unwatchable today. And I don't agree with that. I I don't know. Maybe I have never taken issue with Costner's performance in this movie. Maybe it's just because I don't think about his performance in this movie because I just think about Rickman and Wincott. But he's a fine lead. I don't know. I don't think he deserved that Razzie nomination in '91. Do you think it's a bad performance? Do you think it's a lazy performance?
I don't think it's particularly inspired,
No.
but it's perfectly
Yeah.
serviceable.
That's actually a great point. He's not, and it is tonally all over the place, but I think it's only tonally all over the place because he showed up 3 days beforehand. but I guess you have to blame his hubris for that, right? Because he didn't plan on like, yeah, it's a rough one. I don't know. Maybe it's just his charisma on screen, but and I do like that. There's an argument on someone on Reddit, and I learned this in the Real Watchables, where someone said like people didn't even have British accents back then. It would have been some kind of French and
Yeah,
Middle English.
Richard the Lionheart would have spoken like it was like some kind of French thing, French dialect, and they would have been speaking Old English or Saxon or so. So if you want to go all apocalypto,
Yeah,
this is what you have to do.
and it's fine. It's I like that it's critical. I like that Costner is an American Robin Hood. I like that Rickman's on another planet. For some reason, this hastily put together kind of cynical experience made bank and people love it. So I think we need movies like this. They're a little bit critic proof. I don't know if we need movies like this, but I just enjoy that this one came through and succeeded. It has some great catapult scenes.
Does
Any other
even
things?
if
What's up?
yeah, it's a good catapult scene. It's
Do you have any particular favorite catapult scenes of cinema?
my favorite's in Return of the King,
Oh
where
yeah.
they return the prisoners. I'm not sure is that in the theatrical or the extended cut where they return all the heads of the severed heads of all the soldiers
Oh, it's amazing.
to Minas Tirith.
And I do love that giant trebuchet that shoots that huge rock, and the orc just
And the guy
sidesteps
just
it and then spits on it. And I love in The Hobbit, in the Battle of the Five Armies director's cut, there's a troll with a catapult on its back.
that's extra catapult.
And I think the all-time catapult scene of cinema is Willow, when Mad Mardigan like, has to save Willow. So he gets on that catapult, shoots himself, but then he gets slammed into the wall. Like he has this
Which
total
is much
hero
more
moment.
likely is much more likely to happen than sailing comfortably over the castle wall and landing in a bale of hay.
A
So
perfectly placed Bella Hay.
so Willow is more scientifically accurate than Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh man, I love it. I love it when they it just he has this giant hero moment and he just slams into the wall. But I guess some other ones I want to give props to. I think Kingdom of Heaven has some great catapult. Like Ridley Scott understands
Does
the catapult. Like
well,
he
Gladiator as well. The
oh
opening
yeah.
scene.
Yeah. Yeah. He knows how to handle a catapult. Army of Darkness has some great ones. That movie Timeline is pretty much all about trebuchets and catapults. So I admire that. Return of the Jedi, good catapult
Yeah,
action.
some good catapults. The Ewoks understand catapults. Warwick Davis and catapults go well together.
Whoa. I might have to write a data post. That's a good.
Movies with Warwick Davis and catapult. Well, there's only two that we've mentioned so far. But
Oh man. And anytime people get in a catapult to shoot themselves, I love. You know what I think it stems back to is there's that Simpsons episode. I think it's one of the first few episodes.
with the beer baron.
And well no, the rabbit gets caught in that little rope and it just gets flung
Oh yeah.
like at least a mile. I think that's where my love of catapults began.
I was thinking of the other one where they have the prohibition episode, and the crime for breaking prohibition is to be catapulted.
And Monty Python, the Holy Grail, is some good catapult action. We just don't see much of it.
Well, budget cuts.
So right now on IMDb, there's a list of catapult scenes, and Gladiator 2 is first, which there are catapults on boats, which I fully agree with, but I would put Willow first for sure.
I haven't actually
Trainer,
seen Gladiator 2 yet.
yeah, I mean there's a scene with sharks, so that's cool, and also Transformers: The
Sharks,
Last Night.
catapults.
Oh
So
gosh, yeah,
two out
that's
of
too.
three.
It's too bad there's no jet. Like, it's too bad jet skis weren't invented yet because that could have worked pretty well. I don't know. Anything else you want? Anything else you want to cover?
I don't think so. I think it's no, it's been fun. I rewatch this movie probably once a year, so it's been kind of fun to chat about it.
I knew nothing about the production history of this movie, so that made me happy. And just hearing Rickman say that they let him off the leash, and this makes me want to watch Quigley Down Under.
Well, yeah, he's it was kind of part of his villainous turn in the early 90s.
Have you watched Quigley Down Under?
No.
All right, I might have to do that. It's on Tubi. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's on Tubi. And it has a mustachioed Tom Selleck battling Alan
Interesting.
Rickman in Australia. I like that.
Sounds like a recipe for success, I guess.
All right, man. Well, hey, where can people find you?
I'm at El Nilo on various social things, mostly Blue Sky. I've abandoned Twitter.
Yeah, you're on Blue Sky. Blue Sky's fun. It's kind of getting
Yeah,
bigger and bigger.
Blue Sky is like the vibe Twitter had 10 years ago.
I need to get on there more. It's just the thought of like reestablishing followers again and like building all that just is exhausting. So I've just kind of
Yeah.
stopped on all of them.
Yeah, I just
But
don't really do it.
yeah. Well, either way, listen to all our episodes. Find the one where we're talking about the soundtrack because we can't remember that because you and I have been recording for a long time. So listen to our Star Trek series, Gross Point Blank. We had a couple of yeah, we have just have so many. Just type in Niall when you're at Movies, Films, and Flicks, and his name will pop up. But hey, man, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Awesome. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Niall Moore, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.